Hi there, everybody. Welcome to another Bond Consulting Services webinar. This webinar is called Business Central Reporting: Data Driven Without the Drama. Thank you for joining us today. I'll do an agenda and introductions in here in just a second, but as we are going through the webinar, I'll be talking through a lot. So if you have any questions, I want to make sure you get them answered. So please feel free to drop your questions into the Q&A section as I'm doing the webinar, and as things pop up on my screen, I'll try to answer them as we're going along. If not, we will also have some time at the very end of the webinar for a Q&A session also. But with that, let's go ahead and get the ball rolling here. So today I'm just gonna introduce myself a little bit because I am new here to Bond Consulting. We're gonna dive into the reporting persona and the problem that flat reporting has. Then we'll dive into the reporting and analytics tools that Business Central has for you out of the box. We'll talk a little bit about choosing the right tool and then practical next steps for you to be able to take these tools and utilize them within your organization. So my name is Gino Pack. I'm the principal consultant for the Business Central team here at Bond Consulting Services. I've been with Bond for just about a month now, but I've been working with Nav and Business Central and in the partner ecosystem for about 6 years, but utilize Nav and Business Central for almost 16 years now. I love the software. I love that what Microsoft is doing the product as it's transformed into being from being Navision to Nav into now Business Central and in the cloud, and the AI tools that Microsoft is integrating with it as well. So ultimately, I am a huge fan of utilizing technology to improve business processes. And I'm hoping that out of today's webinar, we could pull some of that knowledge forward and share it with everyone that's in the group today. So I really appreciate everyone joining me, and I hope that you get at least one thing out of this webinar today that you can utilize in your everyday use of Business Central. So we're going to start with talking about the reporting persona and the problem with flat reporting. Everybody understands what the term RDLC is, or word layouts are. Those are all different types of reporting that it came out of the box with Nav and Business Central for years. But over the last number of releases, Microsoft has really been increasing the types of the different ways that you can pull data out of the system and analyze it. Everyone, I'm sure, has heard of the term BI or business intelligence. There are different ways to get to your data other than printing a report and then all of a sudden it being stale the moment after you print it. And also those different reporting those flat reports also don't cater to different people within your organization that may have different reporting requirements. So I want to start with this slide here. This slide, I'll be honest with you, I did not develop it. This is a tool that I've gotten from Microsoft, and I very much agree with it because it gives you a moment to step back as an organization and say, okay, what type of reporting do we need within our organization, and what are those different reporting personas that are within the organization? So I'm just going to use this as an example. So typically you have your 3 levels of within your organization. You have your staff, and your staff is more or less looking at the detailed data. They're the ones who are also trying to add data into your system throughout the day. They're focused more on operational reports, on-screen task data. Then you move into your middle management. They're looking at your managerial reports. They're looking at being able to dive into a KPI or a trend or a summary if something doesn't look right. So they're looking at a higher level, but want to dive in if they absolutely need to. And then you have your leadership, who's focused very much on performance data. They really want to focus on your KPIs. They want to look at dashboards. They want to look at your financial reporting. And within Business Central has all of those capabilities as you look at the organizational hierarchy. And we're going to talk about a number of those tools here today. So to summarize, the problem with flat reporting comes down to 3 things. 1, it's not living data. The moment you run the report and save that PDF or export that data Excel and save that Excel workbook, that data is bad. Okay, so it is a very much a point in time snapshot of what your business, where your business is at, and has no validity 10 minutes from the time you run the report. Different personas, as I explained in the previous side, rely on different outputs. They want to look at their data differently. A person on the shop floor, a person doing data entry in your office may require a different view of that data than the accounting manager or the CFO who wants to look at trends or wants to look at KPIs for your business. And then 3, manual analysis can take hours per month. These are for those who do dump the data into Excel and try to pivot it and manipulate it and change it to get the output that they need for the persona that they are reporting to. Hopefully the tools that I share with you here today, will solve that. And by choosing the correct tools, you can be quicker at doing all these 6 different boxes of reporting needs. So you could monitor your company financial health in minutes. You could, without having to wait until month end, you can measure progress against your strategic goals. You can spot problems early on. You can make timely adjustments to your tactics as you're looking at those your data points in real time. You can use them to motivate team members by developing KPIs that affect how their role affects the bigger picture of your business. And you can also make decisions faster too. Instead of having to wait till month end to figure out where you're truly at from a financial standpoint, being able to monitor it throughout the month and pull out variances early will help you pivot a lot quicker within your organization. So let's dive into that. That's enough of the sales tactic behind this and the reason behind it and the thought behind it. Now let's go ahead and dive into Business Central and show you what Business Central has out of the box that you can utilize today. And yes, everything that I'm showing you comes with Business Central today, except one item, which is Power BI, which we'll dive into in a little bit. But everything is available out of the box that you can use today in Business Central. So let's go ahead and start with Excel report layouts. Excel layouts are Excel-based report templates that connect directly to your Business Central data, letting you build and customize professional reports using familiar tools like pivot tables, charts, and formulas. And yes, these layouts can be stored directly within Business Central and ran from a Business Central report object. So your benefits of Excel layouts is 1, you can create your own layouts with Excel, either from scratch, or you can use an existing Excel layout that Microsoft gives you out of the box and just modify it. You can also use an existing data set within Business Central and build a report or build an Excel layout out of that existing data set, which I'll show you here in a little bit. You can include multiple worksheets, interactive elements, visualizations, pivot tables, and slicers. So basically, if it is something that Excel can do, you can utilize it to build your Excel layouts. You can view raw data from the report data set to help understand how the report works and where the data and visuals come from. So behind every Excel report layout is a data table that shows the exact data that's being used to calculate most fields within that Excel layout. You can utilize Microsoft Office features for better post-processing after the report is run, including you can protect your worksheets, you can apply sensitivity labels, adding comments and notes. You can use it for forecasting analysis. So anything after you've run the report and pulled it out of Business Central, you can utilize your other Microsoft products to help enhance and make that report even better. You can installed add-ins, app integrations such as Power Automate, Flows, and OneDrive. Once the report is in Excel, it's the sky's the limit. Over the last couple of versions of Business Central, Microsoft has been making a lot of headway in converting a lot of their RDLC reports that come out of the box into Excel layouts. As of right now, there are 51 different Excel layouts available to you out of the box. Some RDLC reports Microsoft has retired in favor of the Excel layouts. Some of them Microsoft has released alongside the RDLC layouts. Okay, now let me make it clear. RDLC is not going away. There's technology within RDLC that has to stay because it's really core to several businesses. But when you want to look at dimensionalizing your reporting instead of looking at a flat RDLC report, Microsoft is adding additional options to the table for you to be able to make reports that will better fit that business persona, your that reporting persona that you are presenting to your users today. So let's dive into Business Central and let me show you what an Excel layout looks like. So I'm going to bring over my Business Central environment now. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start off by looking at our custom report layouts. Okay, now Microsoft has made some changes to custom report layouts. It is under custom report layouts now. It is no longer under report layouts. Microsoft is decommissioning that page. Oops, sorry, custom report layouts. Let me see. I'm sorry. Report layouts. I apologize. I mixed them up. So report layouts is the new report layout screen that Microsoft is going to be rolling out to the organization. This is where you will actually manage all of your report layouts in the future. Microsoft is going to be depreciating the custom report layout screen. But you can do so much more from the custom report layout or the report layout screen now. For instance, Microsoft gives you an overview of all the different report layouts that were within your organization. They're based by extension, the type, whether they're obsolete or if they're still approved. And then they've also added some report layout report layout life cycles. So you can actually put a report into development mode and prevent users from running that report without them actually having strict approval to be able to do so until the report is ready to be moved into a production capacity. So let's say you want to create a custom Excel layout or version an Excel layout. You can put it into a new report layout lifecycle status, and it gives you the ability to keep that in draft mode while keeping the old report in production, so you can switch between them as you need to. But let's go ahead and filter down on some of the Excel reports that we have in our system. Let's go ahead and filter this value. You can see here that Microsoft has a ton of Excel reports that are that come out of the box now. As I mentioned, there's about 51 reports in here. And what I can do is I want to go ahead and just run one of them with you so you can see what the output is in the out of the box reports. So let's go ahead and do the aged accounts receivable report. We'll go ahead and run the report. I'm going to go ahead and just use the defaults. As part of the report request page, the default report will automatically be chosen, but you can actually choose, if you have multiple layouts, you can choose the report layout that you want to run from the report request page. We'll go ahead and download the report now, and then I'm going to go ahead and open it. Popped into my other screen, so as soon as it's open, I will drag it over. Go ahead and enable editing on the report. Enable content so it can actually run the macros that are in the background. And the report should here populate with data here in just a second, as soon as it's finished running. Alrighty, so here is their out of the box. This is an out-of-the-box report, okay? And as you can see, the reports are built in a way that they have a print mode. So if you actually want to print the report, it will actually show up in a layout that you can actually still physically print the copy to PDF or to a printer. You can do it by period with some slicers, so I can actually slice down my data set to the actual information that I want to be able to see. I can do it by period. And these are all utilizing native Excel functionality, okay? And then due by currency, if I actually want to see what reports are due by currency within the system, okay? Now, behind this is a data set that is being used to calculate all of this information. And Microsoft uses named ranges, which is considered a best practice, to fill in the data that is within these reports. So every time you actually run it out of Business Central, the only thing Business Central is modifying is the data set that's in the background. So you'll notice there are several sheets down here, and there are actual several sheets that are hiding. So if I go to unhide here, you can see that there are multiple other sheets here. There is translation data, a query, data in print mode, all different types of additional data that is calculated by Business Central. And this is basically the raw data in its raw form. And all the other sheets that are actually you actually interact with as a user are actually just referencing that data. So when you go and build a custom report, what you do is you're just going to be building an Excel worksheet based off of reference data that's coming from a data set within Business Central. So what does that look like for a report that doesn't have an Excel layout yet? Let me go ahead and dive in here and quickly clear the filter here. I'm just going to run an RDLC report here. We'll go ahead and do a let's see, this inventory top 10 list. We'll go ahead and run this report right here. That's obsolete. So in order to get a good view of how this will actually work, you can actually send the raw data from a report to Excel by doing data only. We'll go ahead and hit data only. The inventory top 10 list will come out in Excel as data. And here is the raw data that Business Central will utilize to populate the Excel layouts. Okay, and you can actually create a new sheet here, and create a Excel layout. And you can then format this as a pivot table if you'd like, upload it back to Business Central as a new layout for Excel, and then run this Excel layout every single time you want to run this specific report. So creating new Excel layouts is fairly easy. My recommendation to start is to dive into Business Central and see what layouts are available and quickly modify them to your needs, because you can actually quickly make a copy. If I take this inventory availability report, I can actually click layout. You can actually create a new layout based directly off that report. So we'll do, Excel layout. It's Excel and click OK. And I can then upload a layout that I created from that raw data set. So it makes it pretty easy to actually modify. Microsoft also has the technology built in. You can't modify an out-of-the-box layout. So if I go ahead and hit Edit Info, Microsoft will actually copy the layout for me as well. So I can actually make modifications to a built-in layout. So that is Excel layouts within Business Central. Let me go ahead and jump to the next slide here. So some practical tips when utilizing Excel layouts in Business Central. Couple things are one is utilize the report layouts page. Custom report layouts is going away. So I made that mistake a little bit earlier. Using Nav and Business Central for a long time, it's going to be something you have to get used to. Build a reusable template that your whole team can pull from, so you can utilize the report life cycles that are on the report layouts page to ensure that a report is either should or should not be used in production, or if it's in a draft status. Couple things to watch out for as you're developing your reports. Blank data sets on the first run. Make sure that you have a data set that's actually pulling data out of Business Central. Otherwise, your layout won't display the data. So my advice is to start with the raw data first. Make sure you're getting the data that you need, and then build the layout based off of that data. Layout mismatches after BC updates. So if you do have custom layouts, as Microsoft adds fields or slightly changes a data set as part of a Business Central upgrade, make sure you test your layouts. And then utilize named ranges in Excel to make formula layouts change proof. That's an important one. It makes managing and creating layouts a lot better instead of having to memorizing cell references. Named ranges make it so much easier to build your layouts and reference information in the data sheets that come through, or in the data worksheets that come through a layout. The second item is analysis mode. So what is it? Within Business Central, you have the ability to ad hoc and do pivot style analysis without even having to leave your Business Central client. It works on most, if not all by now, list pages within Business Central. There's no exports, no setup. It's live data within context within Business Central. You don't have to, the data constantly stays updated upon refresh because it's data that's living in a table. You can filter, group, and pivot data within seconds. You can save your analysis as a named tab and then share it with your team via a share link. And then you can also export the analysis to a JSON file and have a developer embedded in a extension in your Business Central environment. That way it's available to your entire organization and it's permanently there in Business Central via a customization or a per tenant extension, which is pretty cool too. This is also Copilot enabled, so you can utilize natural language to be able to create a pivot table or a pivot or an analysis on your own as well. Enough talking about it. Let's go ahead and jump into Business Central again and take a quick look at it. Okay. In my opinion, this is probably one of the most hidden features, in my opinion, of Business Central because it's typically not right in your face, like, hey, this is the button that I push to get to analysis mode. So I'm going to go ahead and just jump into like customer ledger entries, for instance, to start. And pivot mode is actually a button. When you open up customer ledger entries, you typically just get this standard list page. Up in the top left-hand corner, there is actually an analysis mode button just to the right of the magnifying glass or the hourglass or the magnifying glass. When you click that, it will actually flip the system into analysis mode for you, okay? And as you can see, I have an analysis mode that's pre-built in customer ledger entries, but what I want to do is I want to show you what it comes with out of the box, okay? Out of the box, analysis mode will look like this. All the fields that you have access to on the list page, you also have access to within analysis mode. If there is a field that is missing, you can unhide. You can use personalization within Business Central to unhide that field, and then you could actually add it to your analysis mode as well from here. If a field does not exist on this table that you need to be able to access, Microsoft gives you the ability to add columns from related tables. Okay, so if dispute status is not available or I know for a fact dispute status is not available on the customer ledger entries, I can go ahead and add it. If salesperson is not available on the customer ledger entries, I can go ahead and add it. So if I want to go ahead and add another field from another table, I can go ahead and click customer. It's going to bring up all the fields that are on the customer record here. Okay, and then I'm just going to scroll down to salesperson code and click OK. That field has now been added as a relation to my analysis mode. So now I can utilize it within this data, even though the salesperson code may not exist directly on the customer ledger entries table. Okay, so let's go ahead and build an analysis, okay? What I want to do is, sorry, I switched back to my slides on accident. What I want to be able to do is pivot on salesperson sales, for instance, okay? What I want to do is, and I want to look at it over time, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and go into pivot mode here so I can easily do a pivot based off of specific data, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and determine my row groups and my column labels so my data can pivot appropriately. So let's start by adding my salesperson code that I had in the previous, or that I added from another table. Okay. And then I want to go ahead and add the, let's see, the amounts here as well as a value. Okay. So now I can see the amount of sales that they have in the customer ledger entries. But now I want to look at this over time, but I want to look at it over posting. As you can see, Business Central automatically has certain measures set up for posting date. You don't have to go ahead and set up, okay, I want to look at posting date individually, but then now I want to be able to look at it over a quarter, over a year. And so what I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and add under my column labels, I'm going to do posting date year and then quarter. And now I can see my 2025 quarter one sales for my sales reps, my 2026 quarter sales for my sales reps, all the way across the screen. Right now, I think in this demo data set, there's only 2025 and 2026, but now I could see the sales across my organization in a simple pivot. Okay. If I want to go ahead and keep this pivot, I can go ahead and rename it and do it sales by quarter. Now rep sales by quarter. I can add a description if I'd like to. I can rename it. Now it will go ahead and stay there. And I can even share it with somebody in my organization. So I can export the definition. This will download the file that I can provide to a developer. They can use to write a customization to have it permanently available in my environment. I can open this in Excel, although the pivots don't look very pretty in Excel. Or I can copy a link and I can either choose to link it to a specific company, so the company that I'm in right now, or not link it to a specific company, and then the analysis will open in the company that the receiver has open at that current time. And I can just copy this URL, give it to a user, they paste it in their environment, and Business Central will open up with that analysis. Okay, well, there was a bug there. That analysis will open up in their environment. But these analysis views will stay with my environment. So even if I close out of analysis mode and reopen it again, you can see that the sales rep sales by quarter and my sales rep analysis stay in the environment without any issues. And this is live data. I refresh my screen. These numbers will change based on the transactions that are happening within our system, within my system. Okay, so practical tips with analysis mode. There's a couple things that I want to go ahead and point out with analysis mode. One is that you can save and share your analysis tabs. Your whole team benefits from one setup, so you can pre-build common analysis reports for end users. So you can eliminate reporting requests that come into your IT department or to whoever within your organization builds the reports. It's great for data exploration. Okay, it's not for formatted printed reports. It does not come out very pretty in Excel. So this is really, really good for data exploration. You can combine this with list filters, so you can have highly focused drill down. So you can filter down your list pages within Business Central first. Then you can filter down your list pages in Business Central first, then flip over to analysis mode and slice your data. Export the data to JSON so you can use it as a customization, and then it's available to your entire organization. And then don't forget to turn your pivot on. This is one thing that I learned when learning how to use this tool, is that if you actually want to pivot based on data, it's important that you turn on pivot mode. If it's off and you try to figure out how to pivot, you'll be like, oh, okay, well, simple toggle will turn it back on. It doesn't turn on by default. Okay, so with that, we are going to dive into the last tool, tool number 3, which is your pre-built Power BI app. So what is it? Microsoft has built Power BI apps that are embedded in Business Central, Business Central Power BI pages, as well as in the Power BI app within the Microsoft ecosystem, and they're out-of-the-box reports. Microsoft has published them in AppSource for free. The only thing that you need is a Power BI license in order to be able to access those reports, okay? It connects to Business Central using pre-built connectors. You don't need a data warehouse. Microsoft has built queries in the background, queries and APIs in the background that pull the most common data sources. And you can add the dashboards to your role center within Business Central, so you can actually keep an eye on finance, sales, and opportunity reports. So what does this look like? So these are what the Power BI reports look like in AppSource. Okay, they have them for almost every module within Business Central: inventory, sales, finance, manufacturing, projects, inventory valuation. They're all available here within Business Central or within AppSource that you can connect to your Business Central environment. So let's go ahead and dive in and take a look at some of these. So how does this get set up? I'm going to pop into another Business Central environment here really fast. Okay, so in Business Central, there is a Power BI setup page. And in the Power BI setup page, this is where you will go ahead and map your Power BI reports that you install into Power BI into your Business Central environment. It's a simple setup. There is Business Central documentation that you can click on that will walk you through. Microsoft has really, really great documentation. There is a web address called aka.ms/BCPBI that you can go to that will take you to this page and show you how to install the Power BI reports and walk you through step by step. And as you can see, there are Power BI reports for almost every module within Business Central, and the help documentation will even take you to the install link for those specific Power BI reports, or provide you documentation on how the actual KPIs are calculated. So you'll see in a second, once I dive into the reports, you'll be able to see all the different measures and KPIs and reports that are available within each one of these reports. Microsoft gives you documentation how they are calculating those with the data that's coming out of Business Central. So let me dive into Power BI report really fast, and let's look at one of the reports. Let's start with our Finance Power BI report. I'll go ahead and open up the Finance Power BI report in Power BI. As an alternative, once again, I can access these from my Business Central environment. I can go into finance. I can search for finance report. And there's the finance report right here that I can click on. And it will open up directly in my Business Central client. I don't have to actually go to Power BI to get this information. I can access it directly from Business Central. But within the Power BI Finance app, it gives me all kinds of really, really great measures. It gives me my financial overview. I can get my financial statements directly out of Power BI. These come out of the box with Business Central based on the chart of accounts and how it's built within Business Central. What's even great, one of my favorite features of this report is the drill down mechanism, okay? Everything that has an underline here has drill down capabilities, okay? If I go ahead and click one of these links, it's actually going to kick me into Business Central to a filtered list of entries that make up that specific number. So if you're somebody who's looking at KPIs and want to understand what a value is or what is making up that value, being able to click into that entry and bring up a filtered list of entries to access within Business Central that's making up that number is a game changer, in my opinion. It has, balance sheet, budget comparison, EBITDA, so all different types of out of the box reports. You can even look at, let me look at the purchasing app now, just to give you an overview of this one. I can look at my purchase overview. Another cool thing is being able to use Business Central data and tools within Power BI itself together to have more powerful reporting. So for instance, I like the purchase decomposition tree. So if I want to understand why purchases were a certain amount or trace a specific purchase through my system, I can do that directly using the decomposition, which is a Power BI feature. It is not a Business Central feature. It's just using Business Central data. So if I want to go ahead and deconstruct this $746,000 to trace what my biggest purchases are, I can actually trace it through an actual tree to find where the largest portion of these purchases are coming from. So I know that Graphic Design Institute has is $46,000 of a $746,000 purchase, which is much higher than some of the other the vendors in that specific month that I was specifically working with. So it's a pretty powerful tool that's built directly into Power BI that uses Business Central data um, to be able to dive into your data a lot quicker. Okay. Another area that I really like is the key purchase influencers. So if I want to go ahead and look at why or this is utilizing learning language models behind the scene to be able to say, hey, okay, what are the key influencers behind a specific vendor? Okay. It'll look at the data and say, okay, hey, based on my spend resilience percentage going down by 0.3%, or item resilience going up, or number of distinct items goes up, if based on the likelihood of it being first up consultants. This is an LLM pulling this information and giving you information that could possibly give you better insights into your data. Okay, so with Power BI, there's a couple of practical tips to talk about as well. As one, start with the BC content packs. Okay, there are reports that go across almost every module within Business Central, and utilize and see what those do for your business. See if it gives you any additional insight into your data before moving forward and building your own custom Power BI reports. You can embed these reports on your role centers. You can open up the reports directly within the Business Central client without having to go into Power BI. You can utilize Power BI features like scorecards to define KPI measures so you can get alerts when a measure is going above or below a specific value that you've indicated as an organization. Everything is still managed out of Power BI when it comes to data refresh on the reports. So you set those all up in Power BI. And while the reports are 100% free, you need a Power BI license to be able to, you will need a Power BI license to be able to utilize the Power BI reports. So look at your Microsoft 365 licenses. There are some E-level licenses that include Power BI Pro out of the box. If not, Bond Consulting can help you get a quote for a Power BI license. They're fairly inexpensive and worth it from the information that you've seen to get all of those reporting options out of the box. So to put this into perspective, let's dive into a couple of real world scenarios now. So the first one is in finance. Your challenge is that month end takes longer than it should due to manual reporting and variance investigation. Here's your 3 tools that we talked about today. So analysis mode. You can use analysis mode to drill into GL entries by account to investigate your variances. Excel layouts. You can format financial reporting to your business needs. So all you have to do is actually run one financial reporting package to get all of your financials for the month. And then Power BI allows you to utilize KPIs and measures to catch variances before the end of the month by analyzing your business KPIs. You don't have to wait till the end of the month to pull into Excel and do analysis in Excel, do pivoting Excel to get to the information that you need that just extends your month-end closing time. Use the tools that are available out of Business Central to monitor throughout the month so you don't have to wait till the end of the month to catch all your variances. How about operations? So inventory deep dive requires a developer custom built report. So whether it be a report that spits out an Excel or an RDLC report, or throwing data into an Excel document and analyze it, you can use analysis mode and utilize Copilot with analysis mode to analyze warehouse ledger entries by location, categories, and dates. Excel layouts format the inventory valuation report for your warehouse teams, so they can catch weird variances in your inventory value before monitor your inventory value, especially for your items that may be miscounted or lost or something like that before you have to have a huge write-off. Power BI, build an inventory KPI dashboard for the ops team, allowing them to catch inventory discrepancies on the fly. If there's a major change in inventory, utilize Power BI tools to be able to alert you or to monitor every single day so you can actually get those variances sooner than later. So in choosing the right tool within your Business Central environment, there are 3 different ways that you can think about it. So with analysis mode, gives you the ability to slice live data on the fly. You don't have to export a large amount of data into Excel, get it to the format that you need, and then create a pivot table. You can do it all right within Business Central without even sending it to Excel. Excel layouts allow you to create repeatable, formatted calculating reports that give you refreshable data every single time you run the report. And then Power BI gives you ongoing KPI and trend visibility within your environment as well. And it's pretty simple. Use one tool in one case this week. Okay. All these tools complement each other. You may not stick with just one. You may be using all 3 to solve a specific problem. You may start with Power BI, notice a change in data that you don't like, and then dive into Business Central and use analysis mode to slice and dice the data to figure out why a KPI measure is incorrect. So they complement each other. You don't have to choose just one. These are the options that are available to you within Business Central. Alrighty, with that, I want to go ahead. I'm wrapping things up here. I'm taking things home. Let me check to see if there are any questions in the chat box. Let's see here. When should a customer choose an Excel report layout instead of exporting a list to Excel? Great question. So I'm going to go back one slide here really fast because this kind of explains it. So Excel layouts are really, really good for formatted, calculated, refreshable data. They're not really built for slicing and dicing different data unless you build the layout to have those different slicers within the Excel document. So if you're looking for just slicing and dicing live data on the fly, dumping it into Excel, Excel layouts probably won't work for that. I would go for analysis mode. Excel layouts are really, really good for your aging AP and aging AR reports, your customer trend reports, your financial reports, when you want to actually pull the data out of Business Central into Excel into a formatted report and be able to filter on it quickly on a bunch of different dimensions. Really, really good question. See if there's any other questions here before we start wrapping up. What is one reporting improvement an organization can realistically make? Another great question. Okay. Utilize one of the tools. I'm on the slide here that sort of explains it. So find a case within your business where you can utilize analysis mode. Maybe it's building an actual AP or AR aging summary. Maybe it's building a quick cash flow analysis from customer ledger entries or your GL accounts to be able to help determine, in what quarter should I expect a certain amount of cash to come in via customer payments. So those are a couple of different examples. Another one is just install one of the Power BI reports. It takes a couple of minutes to do. It doesn't take that long. Reach out to Bond. Bond is certainly able to help you install those reports as well. Those are a couple of different areas you can just dive in and start using right away. Good question. As we go ahead and wrap up, I just want to mention a couple of things before we wrap up here. So if you need help, I know AI is a big conversation right now. So if you need help as an organization to look at where you can possibly utilize AI or automation within your organization, because there are 2 different things. They're related, but sometimes you may want to use AI for something. Sometimes you may just want to automate something utilizing Power Automate or workflows or something like that. So reach out to BCS. We help with that. Coming up are some events. Community Summit is coming up in from October 11th through the 15th. Please make sure go ahead and register. You can email myself if you have any questions. I apologize, I'm not Tara. My name is Gino, but you could reach out to me if you have any questions about this webinar. But also visit our website for on-demand webinars and upcoming webinars that you can also register for at bondconsultingservices.com/tag/events. With that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up because I don't see any other questions. I really appreciate everyone joining me today. I really appreciate me being able to get to share this information with you. I certainly have a lot of fun with it, and I really hope that you learned something that came out of this today. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you again.